Bokeh has become somewhat of an overrated thing to use nowadays, and everyone seems to be using it a lot. It is nice to get those backgrounds that are nicely blurred out and your subject just sticks out. It's quite a interesting thing to see, but because everyone's using it nowadays, I think a lot of people are kind of put off by it as well. But I will say it definitely has its time and place, and if you use it correctly, it can work out really well. But obviously within landscape photography, it's known for using apertures at around 5.6 and up, so you get a lot of sharpness and depth in your images so that everything just sticks out and you make the most of the landscape in front of you. So today I wanted to see how practical it would be shooting landscapes at f1.2. I think it can work out really well sometimes, and I think it's just a nice thing to do, just to experiment, test things out, see what you can do with that, because it's easy to shoot at a higher f-stop and get all that detail in there. But when you shoot wide open, you have to think a little bit more, you have to look at your subject in a different way, see what you're trying to get rid of, see what you're trying to add into the image. So that's exactly what I want to look at today. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to find a nice spot where I can basically set up a little camping area. I have a small tent with me, so I'm going to set that up. I'm not going to be sleeping here, it's just more that I want a little base that I can have where I can put my backpack, and then I'll walk around with the camera and go and capture some images, and then that's where I can be to maybe have a little fire and stuff as well. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing. So I'm going to keep going up this bit of mountain here and see where I end up. So I thought before I would go out and take some photos, I would pitch up and just quickly have some lunch and have a bit of coffee. But I'm going to be using the Sigma 35mm f1.2. This is for the Sony mount, so it'll be interesting to see what I can actually get out of this. I thought it'd be a cool lens to test out, and especially for testing out at f1.2. I heard it's pretty sharp wide open, so that's what I really want to see if that's true today. But yeah, I'm just going to take a quick break, have some lunch, and then I'm going to head out and see what I end up finding. So I found my first subject to photograph, and there's this tree kind of standing out in between all the green trees in the background. So it's a little bit singled out. It's nice just to try and get a photo of that. But the only thing with shooting at f1.2 is that even though it's wide open and generally things will be blurred out, because it's at quite a distance, pretty much everything in its focal range will be in focus, and not that much will actually look blurred at all. So the background will be slightly blurred out, but not much, because of the distance between where I am and that and the background and the tree. So the only thing I can really do right here, just to add some interest in it, is to use something in the foreground to add a little bit more of an emphasis into going into that tree, so the eye gets drawn into it. I'm not sure if this will work, but I hope it does. And I'm actually going to shoot vertically, and I've set it at a 4:3. I think that'll just work a bit better because it's a little bit more of a tighter crop. I think that can make this work. the way I want it to. So my idea is basically, I've got this branch here with this little bit of green on top. So I'm going to shoot through the green there, and that will basically give you a blur in the foreground and basically just draw you into that tree. At least that's what I'm hoping. So I just have to kind of see if that's actually going to work. So I'll get quite close to this little branch here and frame it up so that the tree is just nicely in focus, and take the shot. I think this will work. I'm not really sure yet. Probably not the best, not really the best subject to do shooting f1.2, but I had to test it out. So I think my next one I'll find something a little bit better, something that's a little bit closer. But I just wanted to see what I can do. That's the whole point of experimenting. You got to try things, see what happens, see the results, and see how you can edit the image afterwards and actually make it work. So this might be one of those images that don't really work, but I might actually end up being surprised and it actually works out quite well. So let's just check this out and I'll move on to something else. So I just found something a little bit different here. There's this dead tree just standing here by itself on this little bit of a mound here. And what makes this interesting is that there's all this dead moss. Some of it is still quite fresh, but it looks like there's a lot of beards just hanging off of the tree. One thing I've really struggled with around here is finding a tree that has a lot of moss growing off of it. This is still not exactly what I've been looking for, but it's quite interesting. I just love the character of it. So there's something different about it, and it stands out from the rest of the things around it. So I think that's what's cool about this right now. Just because of the interest of the tree itself, I'm actually going to stand quite close for this one, get it at quite a lowish angle, and then the trees and everything in the background will be completely blurred out, so you'll just get the detail on this tree here, which I think is nice. And that's a benefit of also being a bit closer, is just everything in the background will be blurred out. And I think in this case it kind of helps, because at least from what you're seeing right now, it's just a lot of trees and it looks kind of cluttered. But I think when you are able to actually single something out and put your focus on that thing, that's when the image really stands out and it works so much more. So obviously I'm shooting this at f1.2. I'm going to go a bit closer. I'm going to stand around here. I might change my angle a little bit, and I'm definitely going to shoot this vertically as well, because I want to get as much of that tree in. I don't need the sides or the background in this image. And with it being wide open at f1.2, I'm able to shoot at 1/1600th of a second, and I even have my ISO down to 80, so that's pretty good. That means there's not going to be any harsh noise in this or anything, so that's a nice thing to have in this. But it'll be interesting, because obviously with me standing quite close, certain branches that stick out will actually be blurred out as well, or there won't be that much detail on them. You'll see them, but they're going to lose their details. So I have to be very precise and very careful where I actually focus, so that I get the most out of this tree and the most out of the image. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to test it out a little bit, go change around, move around the tree, see what works best. But from where I'm standing, this is quite nice. And there's just one spot here where the moss is just a little bit extra green, and I think that's what stands out for me here. So yeah, let me just take this and we can actually take a look. I didn't have to go very far for this next composition. It's a little bit interesting from a low angle, and the reason why is because it just drops down here, but there's this tree here that's just standing in there, and at the bottom base of it there's branches that have got no leaves or anything on anymore, and they're just arching over everything, really strange, and the background is really dark because of the forest below it. and it just stands out really nicely. It just has a really interesting look and something that I like. I like the almost natural vignette to the photo or the composition, but I actually want to shoot this as low as I possibly can. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to cut out a lot of this foreground element here, and the snow will be blurred out, and I'll use that as a way of drawing you into the tree. The only thing I have a problem with right now is where the snow drops here, there's this branch or a bit of root that sticks out of the ground, which is a little bit distracting. And then there's also another tree, small tree just in front of it. That one I'm not so worried about, but it's mainly this one here because it kind of distracts you from looking at that tree in the background. So what I've ended up working out here, there's this little bit of branch on the floor here with some greenery in. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to drop down completely and take the photo right in front of that little branch so that I can block out that root on the side there. So I'll place the branch so that it's in view of that root there, focus on the tree in the background and take the photo. You can still kind of see the root, but the blur is just making it so that it's not a subject that's going to catch your eye too much. And I think that's what's important, that you find a way to draw yourself to the actual subject you're taking a photo of. So in this case, I think this worked out quite nicely as well, and I've taken it landscape. I actually want to get as much in as possible because of the way the tree extends out. I want to draw you into that, and that's what I really was going for here. And I've shot this one at 1,000th of a second in ISO 100. But yeah, I kind of like this. It's a little bit different, a little bit interesting. So yeah, let's just check this out. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna have something warm to drink again, and then I'm gonna pack up and start heading my way back home, as it is starting to get a little bit dark now. It's in the late afternoon, and knowing that I am not staying out here tonight, it is better that I don't stay around too long and have to walk home in the dark. I do have a light with me, so that's fine, but there has been a few spottings of wolf in the area lately, and I'd rather not be out here in the dark knowing that there's wolves around. And it's mainly for Luna's protection, as I know she might end up noticing one and running towards it or something, whereas if it's just me, I don't think the wolf will end up coming towards me. So I'd rather play it safe and make sure I get back while it's still quite light. I think always a smarter thing to do. But I must say, at least today, shooting f1.2 has actually been a little bit difficult in trying to find the right composition. I'm probably not exactly in the right place for shooting that way, but generally I know it works because I have tested it a couple of times before, and it can be quite nice at times, but it depends on where you actually are and taking those photos, because that will really make a huge difference. What is it, Luna? What's up? But anyway, I think I got a couple of compositions that I liked, so I'm not completely disappointed. I got some images that I feel are worthy of being up here today, but I think I might try it again another time and do it at a different location. So it all depends. I'll just have to see and see what I end up choosing. But as I make my way down, I'll see if I can take a couple more photos, and I'll add that into the end of the video. If I haven't taken any, then you won't see any. So yeah, I'm just gonna drink this now, pack down, and make my way home. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, let me know. If there's something you want to know about doing this, then leave a comment below. If you didn't like the video, leave a comment below on that as well. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you all next time.